Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich. Count that money, man. Now wipe the crust out of your eyes. Get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It is Friday, July the 1st, 2022. Welcome to July. We are here. Made it through June. Happy training camp month. Shout out to the sponsors, Prizepicks down below. Use the promo code WAKEUP. We're going to talk some wide receiver props today. Make sure you use the promo code WAKEUP. Get you $100 free if you're a first-time depositor. July, we made it, man. Training camp month kicks off later. A couple of weeks. We're less than 4 weeks away from like the football season officially starting. So get excited, get happy, take some vacations, take some breaks, relax a little bit. Because once training camp starts, we got football all the way through February, Super Bowl time. So it's a good time to be alive, man. We've made it through the terrible draft cycle that was 2022. I'm going to be updating my rookie ranks too over on Patreon, patreon.com/allgas. One more rookie ranking refresh before we hit training camp. That will be done tomorrow. So if you want to tap into the squad, you just got paid. It's the first. Come drop $7 over there and be part of the dope community. We got a lot of shit going on across the sports world. NBA news is going crazy, man. NBA drama, best drama in sports as far as off-season drama. The best drama is NBA drama. I saw a video, Jay, of one of the Colorado Avalanche players. The police almost stopping him from getting into his own parade, thought it was a civilian. We also have conference realignment in college football, shaking the ground. And then we got your boy Miles Sanders saying that he's going to score 2 to 3 fantasy points per game. So do not draft him in fantasy football. Jordan, how you doing this morning, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of things happening in the sports world, especially in the NBA. You know, a lot of tall, black, athletic guys getting paid and some slow, unathletic white guys making a ton of money. Shout out to all of them making their money. But outside of that, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, you were very enthusiastic. You know, you were Kyrie Irving to the Lakers.
Who are the slow white guys making money? What are you talking about? Who is that?
Have you ever watched Nikola Jokic play basketball? You ever watched Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic? I don't know who else got paid from the Euros.
The richest contract in NBA history. Two-time MVP.
Shout out to him. But man,
Jokic,
he is
Nikola Jokic. He is not fast, but he's very, very good. He's very, very good. $264 million. Bradley Beal, $251 million. Whew.
Shout out the NBA. Just paying everybody. Doesn't
Drake
matter if
London's
you're good,
tripping,
bad,
bro.
Royce O'Neal.
Drake London should have stuck with basketball, man. Just stick with basketball, Drake London. That NBA money is wild. Yeah, KD, waiting to see where KD goes to play. KD is requesting a trade out of Brooklyn. It's just crazy drama. Every 5 seconds, these people are teaming up with these people and stuff we don't get to see in the NFL. You never see that happen, man. Like the trade, like whenever there's a trade in the NFL, it's just like, it's insane because it's just like that shit never happens. Like that's why NBA drama is the best offseason drama there is. But the big football news, the big stuff that popped off were my USC Trojans, and I got the UCLA jersey on today. Not a UCLA fan, but this is a Russell Westbrook jersey.
We won't get into that.
This is a Russell Westbrook jersey, your boy. But USC and UCLA will be joining the Big Ten. It is official. Conference realignment is totally underway in college football. You know, this sort of took the sports world by storm yesterday. It was something that sort of came out of left field. You know, I'm a big USC Trojans fan, and we hadn't seen a lot about that, man. Hadn't seen a lot about it, and then all of a sudden, earlier in the day yesterday, Colin Cowherd and Matt Leinart started tweeting, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 it's ripple effect. So you get these two West Coast teams traveling across country or joining the Big Ten Conference, and a lot of the reason why, man, is money. is TV deals. That Big Ten network is making a lot more money than what the Pac-12 network makes, man. So when you're talking about down in the SEC, those member institutions split like $54 million apiece because it's revenue sharing. Everybody in the conference gets the same bucket. Talking about the Pac-12 network, where inside that conference they're getting about $12 million off of that TV deal. You go to Big Ten. Fox is a big part of this. They are going to
Yeah.
get a monster deal, probably comparable to the SEC. So when you're talking about, can you get a couple of million a year or can you get 50, 60 million a year for your institution? It's a no-brainer. As far as a monetary standpoint, it seems to what a lot of people think is that in the next, 5 years, there's going to be two super conferences, sort of like the NFL, where they've got an NFC and an AFC. Potentially it could be like Big Ten and SEC, or this cluster versus the NCAA and the SEC, however you want to call it. But
literally.
the Big 12 is looking rough today. The Pac-12 is looking rough today. And then we're going to see what's going to happen with some of the teams like in the ACC. What does Clemson do? What does Florida State do? What does Notre Dame do? That just joined the ACC for football. I don't know how much basketball plays into this because March Madness makes these schools a ton of money. Like, it's like the second biggest driver. I think it's the biggest moneymaker in college sports, to be honest. There's about 30 self-sufficient collegiate programs. But the ripple effect that this is going to have, you got West Coast teams traveling out east for those day games, or you got these East Coast teams traveling out, or Midwest teams traveling out west for those Pac-12 late night games. What happens with Oregon? There's no way Oregon stays in the Pac-12. So just big news all across college football and the implications, the matchups that we could potentially see with USC versus Ohio State every year, USC, Michigan, USC, Wisconsin. It's going to be, it's headed that way, man. Super conference season is well underway in college football, and I'm, for one, pretty excited about it. I think it's a good thing. I'm happy that these schools are getting their money. And I just like chaos. So while everybody's panicking and all upset, I'm pretty happy and excited about it, man.
Yeah, Ray, I think for us as fantasy players, the biggest thing that we'll get is finally a closer thing to an equal playing field across all these teams, right? We have all these divisions, all these different styles of play, the way that these teams ultimately face against each other. Now we'll see, a bunch of teams that are all very competitive playing in the same conferences like we see in the SEC, right? And in this Big Ten, you talked about Oregon and Wisconsin, or Washington as well. They also apply to join the Big Ten. So that decision should come fairly soon, actually. So we will probably see Oregon also join the Big Ten, which would be great. And I think the biggest thing for me is, like, how does this affect recruiting on top of that? Like, I loved your point about basketball, because it will change things. Like, there's these conference tournaments that really matter to a lot of these schools, and how does that change things? But for football standpoint, like, I love the direction it's headed, right? But I think recruiting will be interesting to think about. How does that change? A lot of teams recruit nationally, but it's still a very regional process as well. But when you're playing against teams across the entire country, you kind of have to recruit across the country, right? Because so I'm just kind of interested, kind of your thoughts on that, if you have any thoughts on that, and how it may impact recruiting, because you think recruiting is a national thing, but it's also very regional. How would that impact it, do you think, if all these teams are basically playing in two conferences?
I mean, recruiting is such a big thing now. I mean, I think it's much different than it was 10 years ago, where a lot of it was location based. It was regionally based. Now, we saw the Elite 11 going down yesterday. I mean, it's a national service, right? USC is plucked top wide receivers from New Jersey, from Maryland. I don't think if anything, it gives those schools more exposure to sort of everybody, right? Like, how many California, like, I think it just gives them more exposure, right? You get this California school traveling out to play Maryland, traveling out to play, well, not Maryland. Yeah, Maryland's in the Big Ten. Traveling out to play Rutgers, traveling out to play some of these other schools. I think it gives other kids an opportunity to see these players. I don't think it's going to impact. I mean, yes, it will impact recruiting, but I don't think negatively. It's such a big business right now, and there's so many services and people and scouts and directors and directions to where I think it'd be a positive impact, to be honest with you, man. Like, just more exposure. So, there are a lot of people that have a lot of thoughts on this, but ultimately, like, you can say what you want about recruiting, say what you want about basketball. It comes down to money. It's money. Money talks. And this is not for school pride. This isn't for, it's nothing other then the TV revenue, the money that's being pumped into college football, you got all these other big companies starting to tap into it. States legalizing gambling. I mean, this is a money move. This is do you want to play where nobody sees you in the Pac-12? Like
Yeah.
nobody watches you because you play so late? Or do you want to go be a part of a conference where like you got the midday games, it's
Big
it's
noon
gonna be an
Saturdays and
adjustment.
shit,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
it's Fox has got a big hand in all of this. So it's going to be interesting to see because apparently this is the tip of the iceberg. There have been
Yeah.
conversations with teams like TCU and Kansas and all these other schools from the Big 12. It's just going to be a cluster, man. Like the Big 12 is scrambling to pull teams in, and it's just they're
Yeah.
not going to generate the revenue that the SEC and the Big Ten will generate. And ultimately, when there's the revenue sharing within these conferences, you want to get a part. You want to be a part of the SEC. Like the Pac-12 network's not going to get it done. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this play out over the next couple of years. I think we're headed to two big super conferences, and it's going to be fun for some of the matchups that we get in college football. But Jay, we talked a little bit about your boy Miles Sanders. Let's take a whole
My
listen
boy.
to old Miles. What did Miles Sanders say? Let's talk Miles Sanders real quick. I thought this was beautiful journalism. That's fine.
You know, it's funny with fantasy football. How often do you get people, fans, kids, whatever, coming up on the street or wherever you are asking you to do something for fantasy?
Look, man, I can't fantasy football. I don't care about it. I honestly don't. I don't. I can't give you the points you guys want if I don't. So that's how I feel about fantasy football. So you're gonna keep getting 2 to 3 points if that's how our offense is, man.
Got to get that ball.
Yeah, don't pick me up on fantasy no more. I'll just say that I really don't care.
Miles Sanders, he said 2 to 3 points. That's not what we want, Jay. I don't want 2 to 3 points from my running back. I appreciate the candidness. Like it was refreshing, but I felt so bad for I feel so bad for poor Miles, man. What does this mean, Jay? What does this mean? What does this mean for Philadelphia's offense?
I mean, it's not good for Miles Sanders. If you got Miles Sanders on your team, you can't feel great about it. But I think the bigger takeaway for me was just how defeated Miles Sanders, like in the way that he was talking.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
don't pick me in fantasy. I'm not going to get the red zone work. I only had no touchdowns last season. Might see one, might see two.
Man.
But, man, that mother Boston Scott, he's going to be heavily
Kenneth
involved
Gainwell,
again.
Jordan Howard.
Kenneth Gainwell.
Let's go
Yeah,
re-sign
they're bringing
Jordan
back
Howard.
Jordan Howard. So
Yeah, man.
I just don't pick me. I mean, I appreciate the honesty, right? Like
Yeah.
if Miles Sanders doesn't have a good season, we'll look at this video and say, he was right.
Yeah.
He told us, right? We
told
shouldn't be
us.
surprised by this. Do I think it's a smokescreen? No, but do I think he could still be good? Yeah, like I honestly do. If for some reason this like drastically drops his ADP, I'm not out on Miles Sanders because I still believe in the talent. But yeah, to see a guy so defeated, that's such a simple question. It's just like, oh, maybe I should reconsider my Miles Sanders shares in fantasy because it's not
man.
looking too good when the man himself is talking like that about his potential outlook this season for the Eagles. I mean, I still love the offense. I think they're going to score a ton of points, but Miles Sanders' outlook does not look great right now.
He was defeated, man. I felt bad. I mean, he looked like a man who knows, like, bro, I'm not finna. he just looked defeated.
When we get to that 20-yard line, I'm out.
Normally,
I'm
they give
out.
you the pie in the sky. They interviewed Michael Carter the other day, and he's talking about him and Brees Hall, and he's like, yeah, we're going to be an awesome tandem. There's enough to go around. Me and Brees are going to be good. You listen to Melvin Gordon, hell yeah, me and Javonte, we're going to smash, man. We're both going to have 1,000 yards this year. You go look at Dallas, Tony Pollard and Zeke, oh, man, yeah, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna go to Philly, and Miles Sanders is like, yeah, bro, man. I'm gonna get you 2 to 3 points. Don't pick me. Don't
pick me.
Don't pick me. I'm not gonna give you what you want. It just doesn't instill a lot of confidence. in taking that player early. Let's touch on some quick news. Quick news, Jay. Debo Samuel has not officially rescinded his trade request from
Yeah.
the 49ers. Apparently, this Cade Otton, the tight end from Washington and Tampa Bay, is next up. Best
Turning
in
heads.
line to potentially be the guy. Okay, all right. The Bills coaching staff, they're firmly behind Devin Singletary as the starting running back. Firmly behind Devin Singletary after drafting
Don't know what
James
that
Cook
means.
in the second and trying to get in J.D. McKissick. It says Singletary remaining the clear back on early downs and James Cook claiming pass catching and breather snaps.
Breather snaps. Never
see.
heard that before.
We'll see.
Sounds a little subjective.
We'll see how that plays out. J.K. Dobbins, this is news/non-news. Highly unlikely that J.K. Dobbins plays this preseason. I probably
Makes sense
wouldn't
for a
play
guy
him
who's
either.
injured.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
play him either. I mean, he's coming back from an ACL tear. So we'll see. In the last line of this column, let me just read this. Fantasy managers can plan on the 23-year-old being out there for the opener because there's yet to be concrete evidence or reporting that he would, in fact, start the season on PUP. So still a lot of speculation. We'll see if he's participating in training camp. The J.K. Dobbins situation will be something we all must, monitor throughout the offseason. And then let's get to these. What I really want to talk about, Jay, is this 2022 quarterback class, man. Kenny Pickett, we had heard during minicamp, and this is the funny thing, right? The cycle of what happens in NFL practice, like how the schedule works out, like minicamp and rookie minicamp and voluntary, like no one's really there, man. Like it's not really the guys, right? So Desmond Ritter there was all this smoke. Desmond Ritter could potentially start week 1. Desmond Ritter looking great. Desmond. ESPN's Michael Rothstein believes Marcus Mariota is far ahead of rookie Desmond Ritter on the Falcons. The only way Ritter finds himself under center for Atlanta in week 1 is if there would be an injury to Marcus Mariota. Contrary to the spring reports that said Ritter was hot on Mariota's heels, this report runs contrary to that. I don't believe Desmond Ritter will be starting for Atlanta. I think that would be a terrible thing for the Atlanta Falcons to roll out Desmond Ritter as the starting quarterback, and it does not appear to be happening. Also, one Samuel Howell. A lot of people were excited about young Sam Howell. Was drafted in the 5th round. Maybe he'll seize a chance on the field this year. Just maybe he gets on the field over Carson Wentz. Nope. Maybe he'll be the number 2 quarterback over Taylor Heineke. Nope. They believe that he is going to be the 3rd-string quarterback. The same with Malik Willis in Tennessee. And Kenny Pickett, the only quarterback drafted in round 1, number 20 overall to Pittsburgh. Exclusive work with the 3rd-team offense. And they say Mitchell Trubisky is clearly in the lead to start week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just a word of advice. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Like, if any one of Willis, Ritter, Corral, Sam Howell, they get a chance to start, you trade them immediately in Dynasty. I mean immediately. These quarterbacks they're probably gonna be replaced. Like they probably are, Jay. Like it's probably not a good bet to bet on any of those cats. And I'm looking at Kenny Pickett, man. You know, we talked about him on Superflex. You still got to take him top 5, top 6. I don't know, bro. Where are you at with Pickett? Like, where are you at with him, man?
Oh, it's tough, man. It's tough because even if he does start, we don't have a great outlook for him. Like he's probably going to be in the 20s at quarterback. So, and then what is Kenny Pickett's ceiling going forward? I don't know, man. Like again, it comes down to is I don't even believe he's better than any of the quarterbacks in last year's class. Like give me all 5 over any of the quarterbacks this year, including Kenny Pickett. What is his upside? Like, don't you believe that you could trade Kenny Pickett for Zach Wilson straight up? Like, don't you believe you could do that?
Maybe.
Right? And at that point, like, why wouldn't you just do that? Like, so for me, it's if you have Pickett or you have a pick that would be Pickett, I think you just trade it for somebody else. I don't see a ton of upside this season, but maybe, you never know. He might be good,
I'm
but
still okay with Pickett. I mean, he was a first round pick. He does have the weaponry around him. This is more so about how Willis and Ritter and
yes,
Corral
very
than
much
it is
so.
Pickett. Pickett was a first round pick. He's gonna get a shot. It's just people thought he would start week 1, and I'm like, I don't think that's probably gonna happen. Like they're probably gonna put Trubisky. That's why they brought him in. He's a bridge quarterback, man. They brought him in
Yeah,
so they can ease Kenny Pickett along. They don't have to throw him out there week 1. So I think Pickett of the group, this is the one. If you're gonna put stock in any of them, that'd be the one that I'd put the stock on. But Ritter, man, Atlanta's gonna be a bad team, Jay. They're gonna probably be
yeah,
picking in the top 5 of the NFL draft, and you better believe if C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young are there, they're not gonna not take them because they have Desmond Ritter.
hundred
Like
percent,
they're
hundred
going to
percent.
take C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. You look at the Washington Commanders. Say what you want about Carson Wentz, man. He's infinitely better than rookie Sam Howell, probably. Like just light
Not
years
probably, for sure.
Yes, light years
It's
better
not even
than
close.
him. And then, Malik Willis in Tennessee, what could have been? But he's a 3rd round pick, and reports are he's shaky at best out there to be the
Yeah,
backup quarterback in Tennessee. Point is, I don't care if they're the 2 or the 3. The moment any of those 3rd round quarterbacks get a chance to start and you get an
yeah.
opportunity to move them, trade them, man. Don't play that game. Not with these cats. Not with these
So what would
cats.
you do with Pickett though? Just because I think, the average is usually between weeks 4 and 8, right? For a first round quarterback to start. For most of the time, I believe that's what we see, somewhere between weeks 4 and 8. So if Pitt's like, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, they bring in Kenny Pickett. Where would you go with Kenny Pickett? Would you trade him if you could trade him away for a 23 first? Or would you hold and kind of see what he could become, knowing
I,
he's a first round
I
pick?
mean, he's a first round pick. He's got great weapons around him. The offensive line is still garbage. Uh, he's the one, for better or worse, say what you want about him. He's the one that's got the leeway, right? He's got the one
Yeah.
that's going to have the leeway to fail and then come back and do it again. Let's just say he comes in week 8 and he looks kind of shaky week 8 through the rest of the season. He's the guy that's going to get a chance to do it again next year. Desmond
Yeah.
Ritter goes out there week 8 and he has 2 shit weeks. They go back to Mariota. Like once you
Yep.
start playing that game, you're done, right? Matt Corral, you get in, you throw a couple of picks in the week that you potentially get to start,
See ya.
you're done. Sam Howell, you're a 5th round pick. Like one game and you look awful, you're probably done. Pickett's the one that's got the longevity. So that's the one I don't know. I probably would not trade him for any random 23 first. Speaking of,
Okay.
did you see the videos? Keyshawn Boutte running around, catching passes,
No.
man?
You looking
Yeah,
good?
man. Look fine to me. Look fine to me. It was
Yeah, all I saw was Mahomes to Sky Moore
nah,
over the
man.
weekend. That was all the rage on IG.
Nah, man. There's a like it looks like a LSU Manning Passing Academy type deal.
Okay.
And yeah, so this was footage
Oh,
from it's at VERDIN Verdin Verdict.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He does look good.
Hey,
Man,
they
that's
only have 66 followers on this thing, but it looks good.
Keyshawn Boutte is big, man.
He's a thick boy.
That's a man right there.
He's a thick wide receiver. He looks good. Toe tapping. Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels
man,
throwing
he's
him the
good.
ball. So if y'all haven't seen this, man, tap in. I mean, he's on literally this site only has 66 followers, but Keyshawn Boutte looks healthy, which is good. Keyshawn Boutte is
Yes.
healthy, which is good.
He's
We
still
wanna see
wide receiver 2 for you, right?
right today.
Okay.
I
Still
see
wide
him.
receiver 2
I
for today.
see him suit up in LSU gear. He's my wide receiver 1. I think he's the best wide receiver in the country. That's just my opinion. I think he's the best wide receiver in the country. So go check him out. He looks good. Looks good to me. He's dancing around, doing the gritty, and he's got some size on him to be not very tall.
He looks big.
To
He
not
looks
be
big.
very
Hopefully he slims down a little bit, but he does look a little
got that
thick
Trey
right
line
now
weight
in the
on him,
offseason.
right? Got a little bit of that Trey line weight. All right. What else do we have? What other player news is that? What are the comments saying? Get used to that Mahomes, Sky Moore. Great segue. Mahomes to Sky Moore connection. What a segue.
Sky is the limit.
So
Quote unquote, Patrick Mahomes.
Sky is the limit. So, you know,
SKYY is the limit.
You know, we've been going through this series where we're looking at these props for some of these players, our favorite fantasy players, and trying to decipher, like, man, is this good? Is this bad? Should we be bullish? Should we be excited? Should we be a little bit worried? Is this asinine? And we're looking at some of these yardage props. We got yardage props, reception props for all these wide receivers. Let's just start with those rookies. Let's start with the Sky Moores and see what the people think about those Sky Moore's receiving yardage props. So let's pull it up. We're going over to Prizepicks. Let's pull it up. Boom, there we go. Prizepicks board. You can have fun, play with us. Use promo code WakeUp, get you some free money. But Sky Moore has the tied for the second highest receiving yardage odds for the rookie wide receivers that they have listed. They still have Treylon Burks at over under 850 yards.
No, thank you.
Sky Moore over under 775. I mean, what? Just let's start there. Treylon Burks and Sky Moore. Is there
Treylon's an under? There's no way. I don't.
Way you would take the over Treylon Burks 850.
I don't see it. I can't do it. Man, like AJ Brown barely had 1,000. I don't even think he either barely had 1,000 yards or he almost got 1,000 yards as a rookie. And Treylon Burks is not as good as AJ Brown. And so 850, you're talking about more, almost as many yards as Devontae Smith last year. Yeah. Obviously, Chase went nuts. Waddle went nuts. But you're basically saying that you think that he'll basically do what is it? Devontae Smith did. And I don't see it, man. Like, could he get there? Maybe. But I think I'd want to see them drop the line and then potentially I could be in. But they've kept it firm. Like, it's been 850s from the very beginning. Sky Moore, they did drop a little bit, but I can't
all
take
these numbers are insane for these rookies.
You don't know Olave's number at 725?
I'm fine with Olave. George Pickens, no way in hell he's going for 650. I was under George Pickens, under Sky Moore, under Treylon Burks. Jahan Dotson, 650.
Dotson's maybe if he can be a big play guy, but I think that's the part that scares me. I don't know if he can be that big play guy on that offense. But yeah, like Christian Watson, no way in hell, man.
You're not taking me over 650.
Is he even gonna play? Like we talked about this before. People hate it. Like he's gonna be MVS in this offense, and obviously a worse version because MVS has been in the offense for years. I don't see how Christian Watson gets 650 yards unless him and Rodgers are just like connecting from week one, which is almost
London,
I think it's never happened.
What about London?
London I'm fine with because again, you're taking a guy who was drafted super high, wide receiver 1. We've seen what these wide receiver 1s have done. Guys drafted in the top 10, they've been getting, 900, 1,000 yards for the past couple seasons. I'm fine with 775 for London. I think, I've talked about how I think he could be the highest target getter on the offense ahead of Kyle Pitts. Even if the catch percentage isn't great, I still think there's a world where he goes over 775. Like, if he gets 130 targets and he only catches 80 of those passes, 70 of those passes, do you think he can average 10 yards of reception? Drake London? Yeah, I think he can do that, right? So I think you're basically there at 10 yards of reception, 70 receptions. I don't think that's crazy. We'll see. I think it's pretty good. And then they're talking about Brandon Cooks too, 750. I don't mind that one either. But I think Drake and Olave are the only two that I'm really looking at for overs.
Same.
The rest are kind of iffy. What's your take on Garrett Wilson though? Because he's only 725. I think I'm leaning under, but there is a world where I think he can go over.
I lean under, but not in a bad way. Not because I think Garrett Wilson is bad, but just the offense, right? Like if I took an under, it would be because I just don't believe in Zach Wilson, right? Like, and I don't think that would be it.
And that's part of it too. It's the offense. It's Zach Wilson. It's does he get the snaps and does he get the targets? There's a lot of things that could cause him to go under, but I think there is a small world where he does go over. But probability says
let's flip the script. Let's flip the script from just like talking about the prop to if Vegas is right and these numbers are where they're kind of projecting these rookies. Like, how high should we be on Sky Moore? If he's projected to have the third most receiving yards in this class with Patrick Mahomes, Treylon first. Like, I mean,
so that's tough, man, because like I still don't think I could take him over JMO. It's very close though. Like even today, I'm curious where you put them in your ranks, because I would have a hard time taking JMO behind Sky Moore just because of what I believe of JMO could be when he finally is healthy. But if he does, tie Drake London in yardage, man, his value is going to be what, in the top 50 probably. At like just overall in Dynasty, maybe the top 60, 70. I'm pretty sure he's already in the top 80. So from that standpoint, like Drake London's wide receiver 12 right now in a lot of services, 775. Yep. If he gets that, he's probably a little bit underwhelming, but I think he could do better than that anyways. But if Sky Moore puts up 800 yards, breaks the rookie record for Kansas City Chiefs receivers, there's a lot of things that are going that way.
I gotta bring this up. This is the problem with new Dynasty gamers, man, fantasy gamers. London 775, oof, for my Dynasty team. We've been so spoiled over the last 2 years where we think these guys should just come in and be, 1,200, 1,300 yard receivers. I'm old enough to remember when DJ Moore had a 700 yard rookie season and the Dynasty community propelled him into the top 12 the following season. And he had 700 and something yards as a rookie. And now rookie gets you 700, 800, 900 yards. And you're pissed. You're pissed off. This is bullshit. These guys suck. You only got me 811 yards as a rookie. You stink. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like literally, I'm old enough to remember. Some of y'all are new to the game. Y'all ain't been around, right? But DJ Moore, go look up what did he have as a rookie? I'm almost positive he was a 700 yard receiver as a rookie in all the mainstream. This was before old GQ.
Almost 800, 788.
788.
But he only had 82 targets, which is like pretty fucking
all I'm
good.
saying is I remember that happening, and the mainstream media, fantasy media, propelled him as a top 12 wide receiver. Now 700 yards, 800 yards. You just poo-poo on it and no one likes it, right? Let's look at some of these other props. So the wide receiver with the most receiving yardage prop in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, 1475. Good God. Justin Jefferson projected to go out there and just smash, right? Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, both at 1,300 yards. I have both of those guys in on a ticket, over Devontae Adams, over Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, 1,200, over that number as well. I locked those numbers in. Tyreek Hill at 1,100. That's it. Oh, man.
Sounds fair to me. I mean, what do we expect of Tua, right? We got Tyreek Hill at 1,100, Waddle at 1,050. That's Ray. I mean, we project. I mean, I imagine you would agree that you would project Tyreek Hill to score or to get more yards than Jalen Waddle. And I'm surprised it's that close. But even 1,100, I'm like, man, I don't know. Like,
really?
I believe Tyreek Hill for his career. What's the most yardage he's ever had in his career?
I think he had a 14. Wasn't it 14 something? But I know he's only done that like once. Right? Yeah, he's only done it once. And that's with Patrick Mahomes. Him and Waddle.
The most in his career was 1479. He's been at 1276, 1239 over the past 2 seasons. So, you get that QB downgrade of only 100 yards. Like, I don't know, man. That's tough to come by. I mean, I love Jefferson's over, though. I don't know how you feel about Jefferson. Man, I love his over. 1475. If he's healthy for 17 games,
he's hitting this.
I just don't think there's any way he doesn't. He had 1,600 last year. And Ray, I don't know if you agree with this. I think he's got the highest yardage ceiling in the NFL, like, period. Higher than Cooper Kupp,
his
higher
odds
than
are to
Devontae
lead
Adams.
the league in receiving. It'd be interesting to see what his odds are to lead.
Well, I think he's either first or second, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be him or Cooper Kupp for sure.
Yeah.
I can go look that up, but I believe he's not. It's not like you're getting a discount on Jefferson. People know how good he is. Obviously led the league in air yards last season, over 2,000, the only player over 2,000 air yards. So there's a lot of things to like with Jefferson. But Hill versus Waddle is interesting to me. I'd almost want to stay away from both, but the one that sticks out that I just can't quite figure out is Debo. And what do I do with Debo this year, man? 1,050 is not a lot, and especially with how good he was last year. But we just don't know what the offense looks like with Lance and what is his role going to be. And we know he's not going to run the ball as much if he's even still on the team. But would you take a shot on Debo over hoping he gets traded. And I think there's still a good shot he goes over, even if he doesn't get traded.
He ain't getting.
But I think the
I
trade
don't think he's getting traded at this point, man. I don't think he's gonna get traded at this point.
Seems unlikely, right?
Seems unlikely. Could happen, but it seems unlikely. What did he have last year? Like 1,100, 1,200 last year?
I think it was more than that. Hold on one second.
I don't know.
Debo had 1,400 yards last season.
1,400 receiving yards?
Yeah, he averaged 18.2 a reception last year.
Fuck. And
Yeah,
people don't like Jimmy Garoppolo, man. 1,400 for old Debo? Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot after the catch, right? Like, let's just
he did do it. All right, let's look at some of these ones. Let's go down to tier 2 kind of guys.
Oh, you just skipped CeeDee Lamb like that?
I talked about it. I already told him 1,200. I took the over. I said that. I put him, Adams, and Jamar on the ticket. Andrews 1,200. Deontay 1,050. DJ Moore 1,150. Mike Williams 1,150. More than Keenan Allen. Michael Pittman 1,100 again. Mooney another 1,000-yard season. McLaurin 1,100. DK 975. You were talking about Amari Cooper before the show 900. A-Rob, the Rams will have 2 1,000-yard receivers this year. I would smash the over on Allen Robinson. Jerry Jeudy, more projected receiving yards per Vegas than Cortland Sutton. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews vying for tight end 1 with 1,200 yards apiece. And then Christian Kirk down there at 900. What's intriguing in this in this group for you, Jay?
I think for me, it's Deontay Johnson, and I would probably go under.
Oh, under Deontay?
Yeah, man. The thing that scares me with Deontay is when does Kenny Pickett start? Because once Kenny Pickett starts, I think it's about over for Deontay, right? And so you think about a guy who had 170 targets last year, 107 receptions, only had 1,161 yards. But there is the Big Ben factor. His ADOT was super low, and now you bring in Mitch Trubisky. How does Mitch Trubisky fit with Deontay Johnson? We don't know, right? He can throw the ball outside probably more than Ben can. Are we expecting higher production? Maybe. I love Deontay, but I think once you bring in Kenny Pickett, I think his ceiling goes significantly down. Like, I think it goes down quite a bit. And so for a guy whose career high is only 1,150 yards, I think that taking the under on Deontay would probably be a smart move because we expect Pickett to play at some point, being the first-round pick that he was. I don't think Mitch plays the full season. At that point, I don't know. I'm not taking targets away from Deontay at all. It's just, what are the quality of those targets, right?
What were the quality of them last year?
Hey, man, say what you want about Big Ben. Big Ben got it done, right? And he's probably going to get it done more than a rookie will, right? For better or worse, he's going to throw the ball more and probably be better than a rookie will be. And especially with Deontay playing outside, I think it's better for a guy like Pickens if he's playing in the slot, for Pratt Freiermuth, guys that will be closer to the line of sight for Kenny Pickett than guys playing out wide, right? Like, I'm not going to project Chase Claypool to have a massive season with Kenny Pickett at the helm. I don't see that happening. Could Deontay still get it done? Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy who I love, but if Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter for more than half the season, that's the problem for me. Is Kenny Pickett really going to throw for 3,000 yards in 3/4 of a season? Probably not. Like, Ray, where are you at with Pickett, and do you think he could get it done for the Steelers this season?
I mean, we talked about. He's got to be better than Ben. Like, I don't care how you're slicing this. He's got to be better than Ben Roth. Like that, what Roethlisberger did not do last year, you might, like, I'm not even being funny, you might want to go back and just watch some highlights and or watch just the Game Pass. He was awful, man. Like, I don't care how the ceiling you think Kenny Pickett has, if he's going to be the long-term GOAT, if he's going to be
but he also has to get the ball, though. Like, you're underrating the fact that Deontay was Ben's guy.
Anybody, I get that, but he's still going to be the guy, the focal point in the receiving. Like, they're not going to say, like, whether it's Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, what do you think Tomlin's going to tell him to do? Throw the ball to Deontay Johnson. Just throw it to 18. Like, when in doubt, throw it to 18. Like, he's going to get the targets. And I'm not saying that Trubisky and or Kenny Pickett are all-pro, franchise-altering quarterbacks, but their arm is a lot more alive than what Ben Roethlisberger demonstrated last year. Both of those quarterbacks have mobility. They're not sitting ducks in the pocket. They can extend plays. And they're NFL quarterbacks, man. We're acting like Trubisky didn't have any success in the NFL again. I'm not saying he's a franchise-altering quarterback, a franchise changer, but when you're just talking about their arms versus Ben's, and I get it, Ben's mine. He's been there. He's seen it all. He looked like he was in cement back there. I mean, I encourage you to go back and look at some of the shit that Roethlisberger did last year, like where he's throwing backwards, he's throwing sideways. It was brutal, man. So I'm not as concerned.
My point was more so if you told me Mitch was the starter all season, I'd be in on Deontay.
But I don't think that's a starter.
I don't think that's a give. But we don't know. But we don't know that because again, say what you want with Kenny Pickett, he's still a first-round pick.
I will bet you Mitchell Trubisky starts majority
for the whole
of this
season. No, the whole season, not the majority. The whole season.
What NFL player starts the whole season anyway? There's injuries. There's
starting quarterbacks start the whole season. Yeah, they do. Generally, they start the whole season.
I think you're overthinking this one. I really do. I think you're. Even if he doesn't start the whole season, Kenny Pickett's arm is better than what Ben Roethlisberger's arm was last year. Like I don't
it's
see
not about
how
that.
You're
it's
not
the fact that rookie quarterbacks
that.
do not get it done for fantasy. That's the truth. There's no debating that. They just don't. And that translates to touchdowns, translates to yards, translates to targets, everything. Not just can he get the receptions, can he get the yards? Like it translates across the board. We saw how bad all the rookie quarterbacks were last season outside of Mac Jones, right? This is something that happens all the time. It's not like I'm trying to say that they're going to be terrible, but
yeah,
rookie quarterbacks don't get it done for fantasy. They just don't.
All you got to do is throw the ball, man. Like you've got
but
these weapons.
It sounds so easy, but then why were all the rookie quarterbacks so bad last season? If all you got to do is throw the ball, right? If you told me it was Mitch all year, I'd be fine with it. Because Mitch is an experienced quarterback. I think he can get it done. But I don't believe that Kenny Pickett's going to get it done for fantasy, and that's the scary thing with taking Deontay this year. And that's why people are out, because if Pickett
Pickett's not starting the season, Jay. It's going.
But it doesn't.
Mitchell Trubisky's going. I will bet you Trubisky is the primary starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022.
Okay, if you take Deontay Johnson in your drafts this year, and Mitch Trubisky started for 13 weeks, great, you made the playoffs. Now it's Kenny Pickett. Now the production goes way down. Now you lose. That doesn't help you in fantasy this season.
Okay.
That doesn't help you betting on
props. Take the fucking bet then. You said what you take the bet. Do you want the bet?
I'll find it. I'll take it. I'll find it on the sportsbook. I'll take it.
Take the bet. So what's the bet? Deontay. Well, now that we've dug in on here, let's go to the receptions. Let's just go to Deontay Johnson's. I'd take the under here. I would take the under on 100 receptions. Yes.
But okay, so here's my question to you, right? If they're projecting 100 receptions and 1050 yards, I mean, shouldn't you take the under on both? Because I'm with you. 100 receptions is way too many for Deontay. Way too many. I think he's probably going to get 85, maybe. But if you're taking away 15 receptions from this projection, he's projected to get 10.5, or not even 10.5, like 10.1 yards per reception this season, which is terrible. It's already lower than his career low of 10.5. That's all I'm saying. Like you're projecting him to basically get 10 yards of reception. If you're taking the under on the receptions, why are you taking the over on the yards or not taking the under on the yards?
Because receivers can catch a lot of balls and not get a lot of yards.
That's not Deontay's game. We know that. His career high is 11.5 yards per reception. Last season he was 10.9.
All right, let's
not going to happen.
Scroll through some of these other reception props real quick. The highest on the board, Cooper Kupp, 115.5. Cooper Kupp going to smash again this year. They've got Jalen Waddle out catching and under yardaging Tyreek Hill. So there goes the thing that you just said, right? Jalen Waddle, more receptions, less yards. Tyreek Hill, less receptions, more yards. I don't think that's I don't think that's an out of this world concept to see happen on a football field. AJ Brown, 82 receptions. That's okay. Jalen Hurts.
Marquise Brown's interesting at 90.5. He's a tough projection this year. Feels like a lot.
Look at these.
Feels like a ton.
Pickens 50.5. Sky Moore 62.5. So it's like all the reception props.
Would you take London at 60? I like London at 60.
I like London at 60. I like London at 60. Yeah, I like London at 60. I don't like Deontay at 105. Pittman at 95.5, man.
That's your
And
boy.
it's my
That's
boy.
your boy, Michael Pittman. Where are you at, Ray? You gonna take him? Are you
I
bold
like
enough? Last season he had
I like the
88
yards
receptions.
better than the receptions. I like the 1,100 yards more than I do the reception prop for Pittman. I could see him with another 80 catch season, but 1,200 yards this year. DK 75.5. Cortland Sutton below Jerry Jeudy and everything, which to me is a little weird. I'd rather Cortland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy personally, Jay. T. Higgins
even on the receptions, you think so? I think your point's valid for the yards. I'd probably rather have Cortland Sutton for the yards, but the receptions, I think I would take Jeudy over. I mean, you do have to take an extra 5, which is more than I'm hoping for.
Right.
But I think, with the yardage being close, I would take Sutton. With the receptions, though, I think there's valid reason to see like a 5-point or 5 reception gap between the two.
Everyone keeps asking about Brandon Cooks. Yes, Brandon Cooks 80.5. 80.5 receptions, 950 yards for Brandon Cooks.
That's pretty good. You said 80.5. He's hit that each of the 2 seasons in Houston, which is good, and he's been over 1,000 yards each season as well. So I think you're looking at another over probably.
Yeah,
sure.
I like Brandon Cooks' line a lot. Jamar Chase at 75.5 receptions.
Over.
Yeah,
over.
Right? Like easy over. Like I'm smashing the over.
He had 81 last season and only 128 targets. I think he's easily going to get 150 targets this year. Easily. I think he's locked and loaded.
You're right. I mean, he said hate to be this guy, but got to be an injury risk thing. I guess he's talking about Brandon Cooks. Probably. That's probably
yeah, he missed a couple games, but still hit it.
Concussions, and hopefully, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Anything else that sticks out to you with these receiving props? Receiving props.
Oh, Mooney at 85.5.
Mooney at 85.5. I like it.
Little high.
You think
really?
That's high? I like it, man. Who else
so
he
only had 81 last season though.
But that was
with 140 targets. I mean, it's
about to
close.
Get 140 again, bro. He's about to get 140, 150. Who else do they have to fucking throw the ball to? Him and Komet. That's it. I'm a little more bullish on Fields. I'm much more in on the yards because I think that he can get it done from a yardage standpoint. They just need to connect on a few more deep passes and he'll be there. The receptions, though, I think it's a fair line. I don't know if I would necessarily go over, but I don't hate it. Yeah, I think he needs to get 150 targets, maybe even more than that. If somehow he gets that, I think that's the world where he definitely goes over, being more of a deep threat kind of guy in this offense. I think that's just how he stands. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Would you take the over on DK? I kind of like it. I don't
know what to do with Seattle, Jay. I have real talk, man. I don't know. Who's the quarter? Is it Geno? Is it
DK had 75 last year, right? Which is not good. I figured he had more. Career high of 83.
See?
But he only had a 58% catch percentage last year, which is
and that was low. With Russell Wilson. Now you're telling me it's Geno, Drew Lock. I think we have to
wait to see if Lockett gets traded. Because if Lockett gets traded, then I'd be all in. Because he only had 130 targets each of the past 2 seasons. That would go up, I think, significantly if Lockett was gone, obviously. It just depends on kind of if that happens. The yardage, though, is interesting because he had 967 last year, but 1,300 obviously the year before with Russell Wilson. So it's I don't know, man. I'm kind of talking myself out of it. I want to say over because I think he's just going to be the guy in the offense. And so you take the receptions, being a little bit unsure about the yardage being there.
Dynasty Barry said it's Geno Smith until proven otherwise.
He wasn't too bad with Geno, though. Surprisingly, he wasn't too bad with Geno.
Geno's not good, but good Lord, man, that's just a scary. Real quick, Amari Cooper. So we're still waiting on the Deshaun Watson news. We saw Amari Cooper's yardage prop at 900, and then his reception prop at 70.5. Where you at with Coop, man, this year?
I mean, the receptions feel too light. It really does.
Even with no Watson, if Watson's out, right? It still feels light.
Yeah, because he's the only guy there. They got to throw the ball to somebody. It's going to be Cooper. It's hard to see a world where he doesn't see 130 targets. I mean, Ray, do you have any concerns about his health? He has missed games over the past 3 seasons. He missed missed 1 game in 2020 and then missed 2 games last season. So minor health concerns, but he should be the guy. When he's been the guy, he's gone over this number 79 and 92. Even with Dak being out, what was that, all of 2020 or most of 2020? He still had 92 receptions in that season.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not worried about the
So
health. I'm just worried
as long
about
as he's the guy, which he
does
should
Amari
be.
Cooper want to play? You know what I mean? I don't think I'm not worried about the health. Off subject, but my newborn slept 5 straight hours last night. Shout out to you, man. That's a good feeling to get those 5 hours, man. I've been there twice. Yeah, it's just fascinating to see some of these lines, man. I think there are, if we really dug into the data, man, I think there's some lines like Amari Cooper or Treylon Burks. I mean, they damn near have the same reception
Yeah.
prop, man. You know, like Treylon Burks is 10 behind DK Metcalf for the season. Again, I think there's some exploitable lines on here on Prizepicks, and they don't move them often. They have not shifted around a ton. Let's just look at receiving TDs real quick just to see 12.5 touchdowns for Cooper Kupp. Wow.
Do it. Do it.
Look at these rookie wide receiver touchdown props. Treylon 5.5,
Who
Sky
do you have the most
5.5.
confidence in with that list?
The most confidence,
Yeah.
either Olave or London.
Okay.
Oh, you guys can't see Drake
I was
London,
actually
huh?
looking at Dotson a little bit. I think Dotson would be really good in the red zone, to where I would consider 2.5 is not a lot for. It's probably a little bit much for a rookie wide receiver, but he was a first round pick, right?
I
And
feel
so to
good
get
about
3 is pretty reasonable.
I feel good about Olave though. 5 touchdowns. I can see Olave doing that. Drake London, 5 in
Yeah.
the red zone. Just throw it up to him. He's big. I can see that
Yeah.
happening. More, I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather bet on some of these touchdown props for these rookies than the damn yardage props. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. But I like Olave's touchdowns at 4.5 and over there. Anything else that sticks out? Andrews at 8.5. Sutton, 4.5 touchdowns. 4.5 with Russell. What are we doing, Jay?
Has to be more than that, right? Even Allen Robinson at 6.5. I kind of like it. I kind of like it, man. Like he could be easily at double digits. Maybe not easily, but he should get 7, 8, 9 with Matt Stafford. I mean, they're the 2 primary guys in the offense.
This is
So him and Cooper
nuts.
Kupp. It's
Yeah.
Sutton though. I want to take the over for Sutton.
Whew.
Oh, Mooney is one. I do want to point out Mooney because I was diving into the data for Mooney, and he had, I think, the lowest amount of touchdowns, tied with DJ Moore, for a guy who had 140 targets last season. And Mooney's had 4 touchdowns each of the last 2 seasons. What, 2 seasons? Yeah, each of the last 2 seasons. So Mooney's a pretty good bet, regardless of what you think about Fields, the offense, whatever. He's done it every year, and so at 3.5, that is a very good bet to take Darnell Mooney over 3.5 on Prizepicks.
Bro, Sutton at 4.5.
Yeah.
Wow. If let me just say this: if you take the under and he only scores you 4 touchdowns, that's a colossal failure with Russell Wilson. If all he's gonna give you is 4 damn touchdowns, that is not good, man. Not good. So again, if you like some of these lines, Prizepicks, use the promo code Wake Up, get $100 free, put it in, get these bets in. It's just interesting to kind of see.
What is Keenan Allen's number? Can you pull that for me real quick?
What is touchdown number?
Yeah.
5.5.
Man, so he's hit 6 each of the last 5 seasons. That's pretty interesting. I was just curious. I was looking at that. I was like, man, he gets it done in the red zone, man. But even still, it's a bit of a sweat. 5.5 to 6, knowing 6 is about his floor.
Somebody said T. Higgins is smash it. Yeah, 5.5 for T. Higgins too. Some of these numbers are quite light on the receiving touchdown side, quite bullish on the receiving yard side. So I know we did have a super chat question from my man Stone. Let's get this in there. We had a thing for Stone. Let's get that up there. Hypothetical trade. You already have Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers. Would you trade your CeeDee Lamb for Dalvin Cook and Jerry Jeudy? Would you do that? Lineup league, Dalvin Cook, Jerry Jeudy for Jerry Jeudy, Dalvin Cook.
Maybe. I guess if you're trying to win. If you have the wide receiver depth, I guess. But I mean, the depth really is at running back, so you're deepening your RB pool instead of deepening your wide receiver pool. So feels like from a team construction standpoint, it's a bit of a net negative. But I mean, it could be all right.
I don't.
How do you feel about the question? Is how do you feel about Jeudy? That's the problem, because Lamb's ceiling could be insanely high this year.
And Dalvin Cook, I don't know. I guess it's fine, but I'd rather Jerry Jeudy. I mean, I'd rather CeeDee Lamb. I think it's fine, but I'd rather him. Now, somebody said there was a super chat question before we went live. I don't even know how we find that. How do we
We can't find them.
Who was it? If you sent the super chat question before we went live, drop it in the comments, and then we'll get to it on Monday. Because I can't pull up the stuff once I go live. I only see the shit that's doing there. Yeah, man. Mac Miller in the background, man. Mac Miller in the background. RIP Mac Miller, man. Tiny Desk NPR. Dope stuff. Silence of the Lambs did it. Silence of the Lamb said it was me. It was me. What's the question, man? You got it real quick before we get out of here? Let y'all enjoy your weekend. And somebody said something nice. I think it was somebody said, like, thank y'all for here it is right here. There's a nice comment. Get out on a Friday. Feel good Friday. Ray and Jay and Chad, appreciate y'all making mornings kick off amazing. I appreciate you tapping in with us, man. And I hope you continue to get some sleep with your little one. Hopefully that happens. I sent the super chat too 5 minutes before the show. I don't know if he's going to get it in before we get out of here, Jay. But listen, Silence of the Lambs. If you don't get it by the time I press this outro button, just drop it in the comments, and I promise you we'll get to it on Monday. We appreciate y'all tapping in the show. We'll get to it on Wednesday because Monday is 4th of July, so we will not do a show. We will not be here on Monday.
Really?
We'll be back on Jay Rich, really, this American holiday.
Well, I
right?
mean, it's a Canadian holiday, and here I am. So I just want to point that out. Happy Canada Day to all of my Canadians out there. Ray didn't even do me the courtesy to wish you. So here I am at the end of the show, tail end, when no one's even listening anymore. Bro. Happy Canada Day, everybody. And here I am.
Happy Canada Day. Shout out
I'll happily
Canada.
take Monday off.
Right,
hopefully everyone has a safe and fun weekend. But I want to just wish everybody a happy Canada Day before we get out of here.
That's dope. All right, here it is. 12-team super flex, half-point PPR, 7.75 PPR for tight end, so a little bit of a premium. Pitts and Godwin or Swift and Higgins?
Swift and Higgins.
Pretty
easy for me.
Swift and Higgins. Yeah, Swift and Higgins. Yeah, I don't want the 0.5 from Godwin. Give me Swift and T. Higgins. It's not enough of a premium to make me say Pitts. If it was half-point PPR and maybe it was a full point for tight end, I'd feel different, but give me Swift and Higgins for sure. So appreciate y'all tapping in. Comment, subscribe, like, all that shit for the algorithm. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Happy Canada Day. Happy 4th of July for everybody over here in the USA. And we will see you bright and early on Wednesday morning. Don't forget to wake y'all asses up. Ray G, we out. Peace.